Thank you, B Skrills. Thank you. Sorry about that. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Coming Off the Bench. I guess I was muted for about a minute there. My bad. We have got a lot to talk about today. We got the Browns 49ers recap. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow from the game yesterday. We're also going to be talking about the AFC North, about how a lot is going to change next season into the off season. There's going to be a lot of changes and perhaps a lot of new coaching hires and a lot of coaching candidates that the Browns could possibly go after this offseason. And a lot is going on. A lot is going on in the world of the NFL. So thank you, Beast Girls. I really appreciate it. I did not even see my microphone level not even moving. So thank you for pointing that out to me. But yeah, but the reason why I was muted, or what I was saying when I was muted, was thank you guys so much for all of your support. You guys have been absolutely killing it. Yesterday was the most amount of live viewers I've ever had concurrent. We got up to like 125 live viewers at one point. You guys absolutely are killing it lately. We're up to 960 subscribers. We're only 40 away from 1,000 subscribers. So if you have not hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get there to 1,000 subscribers. We're slowly but surely getting there. You guys have been absolutely killing it with the support over these last couple of months. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all the support. And without further ado, let's get into today's show, shall we? So let's talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more about yesterday. Sleeping on the game, really, I came away kind of feeling worse than I did coming out. Like, the first reactions, like, after the game ended, I was upset. You guys saw, I was upset. I am probably feeling worse after I slept on it now than I did when the game ended originally. And the reason why is just this team has such little talent on the offensive side of the football that it's hard to get excited about the future of the offense going forward. But the worst thing to me is this head coach and its staff are so unbelievably overmatched by any good competition they come, face to face with. And to me, I think a lot of people viewed yesterday as the last straw for Kevin Stefanski. And you saw the difference between, on the one hand, Kyle Shanahan, and on the other, Kevin Stefanski. You got Kyle Shanahan, who knows how to win, who can coach himself out of bad situations. Remember, these guys traded 3 first-round picks to move up in the draft to draft Trey Lance. Remember this. They gave away 3 first-round picks to go up and move up in the draft to draft Trey Lance, who only played, 4 games for them? Maybe even less than that? And they've gone to the Super Bowl since then because they hit on a 7th-round pick by Brock Purdy. The 49ers have found a way to work around scenarios by drafting players, by, coaching players, developing players. Like Brock Purdy, if the Browns took Brock Purdy, right? Let's just say back in the whatever draft, 2022 draft, the Browns draft Brock Purdy in the 7th round. Do you seriously think Brock Purdy has even a modicum of the amount of success that he would have in San Francisco here with the Cleveland Browns under Kevin Stefanski? I don't think so. I don't. So it showed me yesterday, and I think it showed a lot of Browns fans and a lot of analysts and people are in the football world. Kevin Stefanski does not know how to develop a winning football team. And it's hard. It's hard when you have to work around the conditions that you have with the Cleveland Browns. I understand it's hard to work for an owner like Jimmy Haslam who wants to meddle in every single thing that he possibly can. Even when he does not know what the hell he's doing, he wants to try and meddle and put his fingerprints on everything. I understand it's hard to deal with that. I understand it's hard to deal 3 first-round picks to Deshaun Watson, who didn't play for a year, who had 20-something SA allegations against him, and for him to come out and play absolutely horrible football. I understand it's hard to work around that. We still don't know if Kevin Stefanski was fully on board with that. We don't know. But you see how Kevin Stefanski has had 2-3 years to try and get young talent on this offensive side of the football. They have not developed receivers. They have not developed a young quarterback. They have not developed young offensive linemen. Remember, every single offensive lineman that this current regime has drafted, have not panned out. Zach Zenner was drafted 2 years ago. He's been a healthy scratch every single game this season. He's not played a single snap. He was a third-round pick last year. Third-round pick last year. Has not seen the field. Not seen the field. His first draft pick he made was Jedrick Wills with 10th overall in 2020. He's out of the league right now. He's not even playing any football games right now. So then you have James Hudson from Cincinnati. Had some moments here and there as like a swing tackle coming in once in a while. And sort of like the Chris Hubbard role that we saw Chris Hubbard do when he was here from like 2018 to 2020. Showed flashes of that, but he's in New York absolutely having one of the worst seasons any offensive lineman could absolutely have. None of the offensive talent that this regime has drafted, have worked out. They have not developed anybody on the offensive side of the football. You can maybe argue that David Njoku could be one of the only offensive pieces that they've developed into like being a serviceable player, but that's about it. And we've seen that the difference between Kevin and Kyle Shanahan is so vast. It is so vast. That is the main issue that I think a lot of people, including myself, are taking away from this game. Because there's a quote that someone put out, some Browns fan or media member put out, and it was a quote from Malik Neighbors from last year. And to me, I think it represents the main problem that a lot of people are having with the Browns. Malik Neighbors, after the Giants lost last year in November, I think it was like November 22nd last year, basically came out and said, yeah, we've changed quarterbacks a bunch of times. Like, I don't know how many times the Browns have changed quarterbacks in the last 2 years. They probably had, 7, 8 different quarterbacks in the last 2 years? He goes, we've changed quarterbacks all the time. We've changed quarterbacks all the time. We still suck. So at some point, it's not the quarterbacks. We've changed the quarterbacks all the time. We've changed quarterbacks. We went from Deshaun to Jameis Winston to DTR to Flacco to Dylan Gabriel to Shedeur Sanders now. And the constant has still been the same. The constant is still the same. It's still bad offensive game planning. It's still mediocre quarterback play to even bad quarterback play. It's awful receivers, picking awful receivers. Offensive line play has been abysmal. Everything about the offensive side of the football has been absolutely awful. And when you have your head coach who's supposed to be this offensive guru, who for the second year in a row has come out and given up play calling duties, and I've said this multiple times. I said this during my video talking about it when it first came out that he was giving up play calling duties to Tommy Rees. I said, if you're an offensive play caller and your whole in your whole career in your job is predicated on I'm an offensive guru, and this is supposed to be my offense that we are returning to, that we had success with back in 2020 and 2021, that we're going back to this because we tried to change our entire offense to fit around Deshaun Watson's skill sets last year with Ken Dorsey. We're going to go back to what I like to run. And then when you go into the season and your offense looks somehow worse than it did last year, I don't know how you survive that. I don't. I really don't. Which is why I do not think Kevin Stefanski is going to be here for that much longer. I don't think he's going to be here for another year. I really don't. And again, this is why Sunday showed everything to me. It showed the difference and highlighted the difference between what a good head coach looks like on the other sideline versus a head coach that thinks he's good, that thinks he's smart, but he really doesn't know what he's doing. That was the main thing I saw yesterday. And you could tell by the way everybody was prepared. Special teams weren't prepared. Did anybody look like they were in trouble yesterday? Did anybody look like they were going to get, chewed out on the sideline? Gage Larvinaon muffed 2 punts. He muffed 2 punts. He had the first one in the first half where he fumbled the ball after he got hit, went back out there, second half, muffs another punt, causes them to score a touchdown, have a short field and score a touchdown. Did he look like he got punished on the sideline? It didn't look like that to me. He went over there, he hung his head, they put, that coat on him. Nothing. No, I don't think anybody talked to him. It looked, when they were showing it on the TV, nobody was talking to the guy. Nobody was talking to Gage Larvinaon. And again, it's the same mental mistakes. Jerry Jeudy's going out there. Shedeur Sanders misses the deep pass to Jerry Jeudy down the seam. Jerry Jeudy's walking off the field, sulking, hanging his head, shaking his head. Nope, it looked like nobody said anything to him. Shedeur Sanders is out there with the iPad talking to people. Jerry Jeudy's in his ear yelling at him. Jerry Jeudy's bringing, Denver Bronco Jerry Jeudy back to Cleveland. This is what all the Broncos fans, including myself, when the trade happened, I'm like, I'm not really a big Jerry Jeudy fan. I don't think he's that great. And he's all the diva stuff, all of the attitude problems that we saw in Denver are now coming over here. After he had one good season, everyone was like, wow, everyone must be wrong about Jerry Jeudy. No, all the stuff that everyone was talking about in Denver, yeah, that's all coming over here now. So you could tell by the way everything looked and everything ran. Yesterday showed you the difference between what a winning coach and a winning culture and a winning organization looked like with Kyle Shanahan and what a losing culture, a losing coach, and a losing organization looked like with Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns. And that is the biggest takeaway I saw. And I don't know how this gets fixed anytime soon. I don't know. Unless the Browns have a fantastic 2025 Part 2 draft on the offensive side of the football in April, I don't know. But to me, the Browns cannot make the same mistake next year by keeping everyone together after having a very, very bad season. Last season was bad. It was very bad. Year 3-14, your offense was horrible. This year, I can argue, may be worse than 2024. I showed you stats weeks ago with the offensive side of the football to kind of make my claim that, yeah, it actually is worse on the offensive side of the football. There's no way that Kevin Stefanski can come back from this. And again, I think Sunday showed everybody the difference between what a good head coach looks like in Kyle Shanahan and what a bad head coach looks like in Kevin Stefanski. And that's why all the reports that are coming out, Benjamin Albright just said yesterday, thinks a total reset's coming. He thinks Stefanski's probably going to get an offensive coordinator position somewhere. And that's fine. He can go get another job. And a lot of people, a lot of Kevin Stefanski defenders are going to say, well, you know what? Get him away from Cleveland. He's going to succeed. Okay, sure. Hopefully he does. Good for him. But with how it's going right now, there's got to be changes. And with the reports that are coming out, it looks like changes are going to be made. And I think that's the right decision going forward. Okay, guys. That's going to be it for the first segment. Thank you guys so much for coming out here on your Monday morning. I appreciate it. I know it's a little bit early, but I got to go to work a little bit earlier this week. So I'm going to have to move some of the schedule around for this week. Thanks to B-Scrolls. Salute to you, man. Thank you for helping me figure out that I was muted for the first minute. I appreciate that. Good morning, Hatsu. Thank you for coming out. B-Scrolls says, Judy got a lot of nerve. He's no top wide receiver. I know. I agree. He had one good year. A lot of people were talking about how, oh, wow. It was the same thing with Odell, man. Remember Odell was the whole thing in New York was, oh, he's a diva. He's a diva. No one likes Odell. He's a locker room cancer. Blah, 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 blah. And then we get Odell for a year, and everyone's like, no, Odell's great. What are you talking about? Odell's fantastic. And then 2021 happened, and we saw all the Odell Beckham drama come about with Odell Beckham Jr. So again, Jerry Jeudy had a good season last year. He was good, over 1,000 yards, had that great Denver Broncos game. He was fine. But this year, we're seeing all of the ugliness of Jerry Jeudy, from the Denver Bronco side of his career. B-Scrolls again says special teams are becoming a problem. They've been a problem, man. The special teams have been a problem. They've been a problem for years. That's the problem. That is the problem. They've been a problem. Hazelhu again says, I thought there was a decent chance I would wake to news of Bubba Ventrone fired. The game yesterday just showed how badly coached this team is, and it was indeed the last straw for me. Inexcusable. Bubba Ventrone is not going to get fired until the end of the year. Most of the reporters have said that. They said if anything would happen during the off season, they would most likely be fired after the season. So I'm assuming after the Cincinnati game, Monday or even Sunday night, we'll probably get our answer to Bubba Ventrone being fired. So we only have to wait another 5 weeks. So we'll have to wait until the first week of January to find out. Hazahu says, is Collins out for the year? I do not know, actually. I don't know about that right now, but I'll look into that. Kia Adams says, funny, I tried to warn Sanders fans that he will look just as bad as Flacco and Dillon. No rookie quarterback is saving the Browns. Well, I think that's why there needs to be a change of head coach. I think there's just Kevin Stefanski's offense in that has just run its course. I just don't see the Browns or Kevin Stefanski succeeding with this current iteration of an offense. It's just not feasible. It's not possible right now. And I just think that he's slowly losing the locker room. I think, like I said, from all reports that have come out, is this draft class has probably saved Andrew's job, and rightfully so. I think he did it. Give credit where credit's due. Andrew just absolutely killed this draft. He did. He killed the draft, and he can point to the fact he can go, hey, I drafted Mason Graham. I drafted the defensive rookie of the year in Carson Schlesinger. I drafted potentially, the offensive rookie of the year in Quinshon Judkins. I drafted, Harold Fannin, who's been a good tight end. That's where Andrew Berry can hang his hat on. Kevin, what can Kevin hang his hat on? Well, he wanted Dylan Gabriel. He got Dylan Gabriel. 6 games in, no. Dylan Gabriel hasn't looked like anything. He's looked bad. So again, that is where the difference lies with Stefanski and Berry, and that's where I think Jimmy Haslam is going to make his decision, and I think he's probably going to keep Andrew Berry and fire Stefanski. David Cobb says, I agree with you. If Haslam brings back Stefanski next year, then I won't watch the Browns next year. Been a fan for over 30 years. I'm trying to figure out how to convince my son to be a Browns fan. I know, it's tough, man. And again, the more that they keep doing this, and the more that they keep doing this cycle of repeating coaches and repeating quarterbacks and losing, they're going to lose more fans, man. They're going to lose more young fans. I mean, growing up, a lot of people, weren't, a lot of people were Browns fans. Like, a lot of people, like in my friend group, were Browns fans. But there were some who were, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. There were some who were, Peyton Manning fans or Tom Brady fans or something like that. And you know what? I don't blame them. When you're a kid, you want to root for people who are actually good. I don't blame them. I mean, why would you want to be a fan of the Browns? They haven't done anything good, for the vast majority of the time they've been back since '99. They've had 4 good seasons that I can count. 4 good seasons in like the last 30 years. So I don't blame them. I don't blame them for not wanting to be a fan. No, I mean, I don't, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to try and get them to be a fan. But, I mean, you're going to have to try. And maybe, who knows? Maybe they finally draft a quarterback. Maybe they get the coach and the quarterback pairing right. It's got to happen at least once in our lifetime, right? You'd think so. It's got to happen at least once, right? Okay, well, getting off of that, you guys ready to get into the second segment of the day? Thank you guys so much for coming out. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream. Helps us out in the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet. We're at 960. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for coming out here on your Monday morning. Okay. Let's go on to the second segment here, which is a little bit different. We're going to be branching out a little bit in terms of our focus on the show. And I want to talk about the AFC North as a whole, because everybody has been saying for years, and it's been true. It's been true for the most part, right? It's been true for the most part that the AFC North is the best or the most tough division in the NFL. It's the toughest division in the NFL. And it has some weight to it, right? Like, you had Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the longest time, it was Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh and the Steelers with, the Killer Bees. And then you had like Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, James Harrison, or all those guys. And on the defensive side of the football for the Steelers, you had Joe Flacco, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, Anquan Bolden, all these dudes, Jamal Lewis, all these guys, in Baltimore. Then you had, Andy Dalton, AJ Green, Vontaze Burfict, all these guys, Pac-Man Jones in Cincinnati. For the longest time, the AFC North was dominated and was, considered the toughest division in the NFL. And it was very much true to say that and to think that way. This year has been a complete dumpster fire of a division. And this is like the first time where I think you can see all 4 head coaches of AFC North teams could get fired. And you would think that 2 of the 4 would be blasphemous. But to me, there is a real possibility that Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh could very well get fired. Very, very easily could get fired. And I think that it could definitely open up a lot of opportunities for the Browns to go after, a guy like Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh if they fire Kevin Stefanski. And I think it would be a clear upgrade to get one of those 2 guys to come to the Browns. But the reason why I'm saying that it's a very real possibility that, all 4 head coaches could get fired is because we've seen for the first time this season, or for the first time in this season, but really for the first time ever, that the 4 coaches do not make their teams better. Like, remember, everyone has said Mike Tomlin gives, maybe not Pittsburgh Steelers fans, but everyone outside of Pittsburgh says Mike Tomlin gives the Steelers an edge over other teams, right? Mike Tomlin gives the Steelers an edge over, other football coaches because Mike Tomlin can scheme up defenses. He can, get guys to go after the quarterback, force turnovers, blah blah blah. We all heard the steel curtain, all these different, Steelers defenses, these vaunted Steelers defenses that Mike Tomlin has coached for the last 20 years that have been absolutely, punishing other teams, right? And Mike Tomlin has been the epicenter of that. He's been absolutely one of the toughest coaches in the NFL, and he instills toughness in his teams, in his players, and that's why that's why he's never had a losing record. You hear that? That's true, right? Everyone outside of Pittsburgh is going to be like, yes, that's true. John Harbaugh, same thing. John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl in 2012. Consistently consistent. No matter what you do with him, he's going to try and find a way to win. They can win 14 games in the regular season. His only big issue is that he can't really get it done in the playoffs. That's been his whole problem, right? That's been John Harbaugh's main issue, is that he can get all this talent. They can win a lot of games. He can win with Joe Flacco for a number of years. Then when Joe Flacco's on the decline, brings in Lamar Jackson, has him sit for a little bit. He's the 32nd pick in the first round. He comes in, absolutely lights up the world, right? And John Harbaugh has kept the Ravens in contention, and has kept the Ravens being a really good football team, alongside with having a good GM who drafts a lot of good young players. It's a recipe for success, right? Well, I'd probably say for the last 5 years with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, and really for the last couple of years in Baltimore with John Harbaugh, like, we've seen Mike Tomlin's defense and his defensive schemes, especially this year. This year, the Steelers' defense has been outright atrocious. They've been downright awful. And Mike Tomlin has had a lot of bad moments in terms of coaching, in terms of defensive scheming. Like, everything that could possibly go wrong for the Steelers defense this year has gone wrong. They're also hurt, which is not good either. Like, TJ Watt's hurt right now, and it just has not been good for the Steelers. And they've gone through this constant QB carousel, much the same like Indianapolis has, right? Ever since Andrew Luck retired in 2019 abruptly, they have had a different starting quarterback almost every single season since 2019. The Steelers, for the most part, have done the same exact thing since Big Ben retired in 2021. Like, they've had Mitch Trubisky, they've had Russell Wilson, they've had Justin Fields, they've had, Aaron Rodgers, they've had Mason Rudolph. They've had a lot of different guys come in as the quarterback to try and fix what was broken with the Steelers, right? And he's working with a 41-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, who's clearly lost a step and is not the same Aaron Rodgers that we saw in Green Bay. He's got basically little to no, running game. Like, it's not good right now with the Steelers. And he's only got one real offensive weapon in terms of DK Metcalf. Darnell Washington, maybe. Pat Freiermuth, maybe. But outside of that, nobody on that Steelers offense is doing anything. And for the first time yesterday, and I can't play the clip, for the first time yesterday, it felt like there's a clear shift with how the winds may be turning with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Now, the Steelers have a stupid tradition. They have a stupid tradition. I even as a Browns fan, this is not even not me being a Browns fan. Even if I wasn't a hated opponent of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would still think this tradition is stupid. Everyone knows they do the Renegade thing after the third quarter, and before the fourth quarter starts, they play Renegade, try and get the crowd hyped up. For like the first time ever, the Steelers fans mercilessly booed Mike Tomlin and the Steelers Renegade song. Like, Steelers fans are fed up. They're fed up with Mike Tomlin. They've been fed up with Mike Tomlin for years right now. But to me, this is like the first time where they actually have legitimate criticism of Mike Tomlin. And I think that there is a possibility, that Mike Tomlin could get fired. John Harbaugh is the same thing. John Harbaugh has been, I would say, outed this year more so than most years because John Harbaugh had Lamar Jackson for the first 2 games of the season, right? And the Ravens struggled, but then Lamar gets hurt against Kansas City. They get blown out versus Kansas City. Then they have to start Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley. Ravens look absolutely horrible. You'd think so when you have to play guys like Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley, right? But then, everything fell apart on the defensive side of the football and on the offensive side of the football. We already knew that the offensive side of the football was going to be bad. But defensively, again, with John Harbaugh, with the defensive side of the football, which is supposed to be his forte for the last couple of years, Ravens haven't necessarily been doing all that good on the defensive side of the football, especially in the secondary. Their secondary has been kind of like Swiss cheese. You can kind of deal with their secondary pretty easily for the last couple of years. This year showed, and we're going to get to Zach Taylor in a minute. This year showed that Lamar Jackson makes the Ravens good. He makes the Ravens the Ravens. He makes the Ravens the dangerous, potent offense. It's not John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh does not make the Ravens dangerous. Now, granted, the last couple of weeks, the Ravens' defense has played better, but it's clear that the Ravens are Lamar Jackson. John Harbaugh, he may help a little bit. He may help better than most coaches. He's not the Ravens. It's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson makes the Ravens a dangerous football team. And it is very, very likely that if the Ravens, let's say the Ravens miss out. Let's say the Ravens can't climb out of the hole that they dug themselves. And, maybe they do make it into the playoffs. But if they get bounced, like in the first round, like Lamar Jackson has not played well. Lamar Jackson has not played well the last couple of weeks. If they get bounced in the first round, you could see John Harbaugh getting fired. I can definitely see that. Same thing with Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor has been, I have not been a fan of Zach Taylor ever since he got to Cincinnati. He has been living off of the 2021 Super Bowl. More so than probably any other head coach. He's living off of the 2021 Super Bowl appearance. It has been known for years that Joe Burrow is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Jake Browning had a good, fill-in season for Joe Burrow in 2023. He was fine. He was good. Led the Bengals to go, 8-9, 9-8. That's good. That's all fine and dandy. Outside of that, Zach Taylor has shown nothing. He has shown nothing. And everybody knows that the Bengals are Joe Burrow. The defense, ever since Zach Taylor has been there, has been atrocious. No matter what they do, defensive coordinators, they ship them both in and out, change defensive players. It has not worked out. Joe Burrow is the Cincinnati Bengals. He makes them a competitive football team. He carries the team on his back. It shows. The offensive game plan when Joe Burrow is not out there is downright hideous. We saw that with Joe Flacco. They went 1-8. They went 1-8. It has not worked with Zach Taylor. And it gets me to Kevin Stefanski. When I think Kevin Stefanski is most likely going to get fired after this season, he's probably going to get fired. There is a real possibility that all 4 head coaches are probably going to get fired or could get fired after this season. I definitely think there is a good possibility at least half of this division gets fired. I would say there's a good chance 3/4 of this division gets fired. I really do. And I think that it opens up a possibility for the Browns if a lot of people say, well, who can you get on the market that is better than Kevin Stefanski? Because you've heard that argument a lot from Kevin Stefanski defenders. Well, you can fire him, but who are you going to replace him with? Well, if a scenario opens up where John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin get fired from Pittsburgh and Baltimore, or if Clint Kubiak in Seattle, who's been having a terrific season with the Seattle Seahawks, if any one of those guys come out in the head coaching candidacy during the head coaching search, then maybe there's a possibility the Browns can go after one of these guys. To me, that is the only possible way the Browns can make a positive impact during this coaching search, is if you get one of these established guys, or if you get one of these, because we've tried this up-and-coming young head coaching stuff for the last 25 years. We've tried to give guys their first head coaching shot. We've given guys like Mike Pettin. We've given guys like Rob Chudzinski, Freddie Kitchens, guys like Pat Shurmur. I mean, we've given the young upstart head coach their first shot, right? We've tried to do this young upstart guy. But if you're able to get a guy, an established guy, like a Mike Tomlin or a John Harbaugh, it's immediately going to impact the culture. We've seen it happen with New England. Mike Vrabel gets in there. Gerard Mayo and the New England Patriots were a shit show last year. Mike Vrabel gets in there like that. Changes. Now they're 10-2 or 9-2. And they're the number 1 or number 2 seed in the AFC. It all starts with the head coach. And I think if you get a guy like Tomlin or get a guy like Harbaugh, the Browns are going to benefit from that. And the first step is to fire Kevin at the end of this season. And I think it's going to happen. And we'll see what Baltimore and Pittsburgh does. But to me, those are the two guys that I would go just blank check. What do you guys want? Do you want to do this? Boom, we'll give it to you. Jimmy Haslam likes to write checks. Write one more check. Get one of these guys to come in here, change the culture. Maybe you see a turnaround in the prospects for the Cleveland Browns. So that's just my opinion. Thank you guys again. That's going to be it for this show. Thank you guys so much for coming out here. We'll read some more of your chats here. Hazard says the first round picks and the draft need to be QB and wide receiver / offensive line. I agree with that. Parmesan says nobody wants to hear the same message over and over. I know. I agree with that. Again, I don't know how many times that Kevin Stefanski can say the same thing or even just not say anything and think that that's enough. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but luckily I don't think we're going to have to listen to it for much longer. But we got 5 more weeks of this iteration of the Cleveland Browns, and I think that we're going to see some big changes at the end of the season. And luckily we don't have to wait that long. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for the show. Thank you guys so much for coming out here on your Monday morning or whenever you're watching this. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 960 right now. Thank you guys so much for all of your support over the last couple of weeks. You guys have been absolutely killing it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys all Wednesday morning.